This is the Inferno Podcast. It's the official podcast of UAB Athletics. Blazer fans, this is the place every week for an inside look into UAB Athletics. This episode is brought to you by Pearl River Resort.
Welcome back to the Inferno Podcast. I'm Madison Page, and we have Season 3, Episode 14. Today's episode is going to be brought to you by Pearl River Resort. We got a lot on store for our episode. Our rundown is going to be brought to you by Legacy Credit Union, the official credit union of UAB Athletics. I'm going to be talking to DB coach Brent Vieselmeyer, and not far behind him is going to be our Blazers of the Week, Jeremiah Jordan and Joe Pierce. Our spring sports are on fire, and we're going to get even more into it throughout this week in Blazer Nation. If you want to stay tuned with all things Inferno, follow us on all of our social medias and click that bell on YouTube so that you know when we drop a new episode. Don't go too far because I'll be right back with our Coach's Corner. Welcome back to the Inferno Podcast. I'm your host, Madison Page, and today we have our Coach's Corner presented by Viva Health and Pepsi. I'm here with UAB football with DB coach Brent Vieselmeyer. Coach, how are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So I just came to practice on Friday. You guys had your scrimmage. How was it from your standing point?
It was good. There was we got a lot of reps, a lot of guys through. We did some great stuff. Took the ball away. We had some bad plays, but all part of that learning process as our guys just continue to sort of evolve in the system.
Yeah, and you have a totally new guys behind you right now in the spring training, the spring practice. What has it been like having these guys here and like having them develop and continue to learn the scheme of what UAB football really is?
Yeah, I think that's the fun part is, after recruiting, so, we brought in a ton of new guys, sort of what they're all going to look like, how they're going to adjust to different things. They all came from different systems, from really all over the country, and it's sort of been neat watching that as it goes, and it continues. We still got a couple weeks left. So, what
has been the hardest part so far this spring?
I think it's just getting everyone sort of being from a different place and starting to work together. Communication. I think if you go like throughout football, communications become a real big piece of it with the complexity of offense going on. So, guys have to communicate. You have to work together. There's a lot of moving parts now, and I think our guys have done, a good job to this part of adjusting to a new system.
Yeah, and when it comes to change, you're no stranger to change because you came from the NFL coming to college football. What has that development been like, and what's the biggest difference you would say as far as like the game scheme and like how you prepare for certain practices?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of similarities too. Obviously, I think people make it a bigger deal. Football is football, but obviously, the age difference is, there are some different pieces of that. You'll get someone just fresh out of high school, and then I think my first year coaching, I coached a player who was almost my same age. So that was a little bit different in there. They'll drop their kids off before they come to practice.
Mm-hmm.
That would definitely be one of the differences in there. I think the other part too is just, the travel a lot of times, when I was, especially when I was on the West Coast with Oakland, the travel was a lot. We were a lot on the road. I think we did 2 games in Mexico City, did international, did an East Coast tour. That can be a lot, on them. Now we had a decent travel this last year, but it's still not even near the same.
Would you say that things are starting to become a little too similar when it comes to just the way the NFL is kind of operating and how college football is beginning to evolve?
It definitely has more. Mm-hmm. There's some aspects of like free agency with players being able to transfer and NIL just being a little bit different in there, but I think at the same time too, you still have different developmental periods of players and athletes in there. So I think some of the guys in the NFL, like they're just in a different transition of life at some points. So that does make it a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite part so far about being in this college setting?
I just think the youth and energy, I mean, it's sort of like having a bunch of rookies in the NFL. That's sort of fun. I think they get really excited about certain things. Definitely, watching them evolve, of seeing sort of what they can become. There's going to be a bigger growth, I think, within that, whereas a lot of times in the NFL, there is some good development, but it's definitely not at the stage where it would be with college coming from a freshman all the way to a senior.
Do you ever have to have like those tough conversations of like, I know what it takes to get here. I've seen the development. I've seen what guys kind of get to this next level and like push through to that next step. Do you have to have those tough conversations with these guys these days of like kind of telling them like you have to push in order to be at a certain level?
We never have those conversations, do we?
Talking to a few of your transfers over here now.
Yeah, no, we have from time to time. I think it just, there's a lot of noise out there about different things, but I think with some of the better ones I've had to work with, you just see that they're extremely consistent. They're professional at what they do. I think people don't quite understand what a lot of these guys put in. What just their sacrifice, development. It's pretty amazing what just being around some of the great NFL guys I had the opportunity to be around.
And we're going to talk to two of your transfers, JJ and Joe, a little bit on later. But I want to talk a little bit about what it's been like so far with the development of having those guys coming into your program and like what you're excited to see from them.
Yeah, specifically with JJ and Joe, it's been neat. Obviously, Joe's somewhat local, so I actually got to watch some film on him before, just coming from Montgomery. And JJ actually played for one of the coaches I worked with before, Reggie Howard, when I was at the Commanders. So that's been sort of neat because I heard a lot of things about him, but then I get to actually work with them, and that's been really fun. And I'm just excited to watch them grow. I think they've both grown in some different changes maybe in their game, and I think we're going to keep seeing that continue. How
do you see them fitting into this staff or this kind of team that you have right now? Where do they fit in, and like what kind of role are they taking on right now?
Well, I think with both of them, they bring a lot of different abilities. I think both of them played multiple things, and we're sort of keeping them in that flexibility part right now. So asking them to be able to play the run, be able to cover, blitz, a lot of different skills. And then I think as we move on, they'll keep refining in what they really do best.
And I want to talk a little bit about your family life right now, because I obviously know a little bit more because I'm friends with your daughter, but you guys are having a little bit a separated household right now. You have half of your family still in California, but then you and Peyton are still here. How has that transition been, and kind of like keeping that balance of having your family in two totally different places?
It's a little wild. I mean, I think, I think Peyton's on school number like 12. I think my youngest went to 10 different schools, a lot of moving. So the youngest sort of wanted to stay for high school and finish up, which is great. And then we have a good support system in the West Coast with both sets of our parents being out there. So that's been a little bit different. Now, I got to bring my oldest out here. She really wants to work in football. I think she's crazy for doing that, but keep trying to talk her out of that, but whatever. But she, that's been really a blessing. And, we get to see, my family's out here now, and we sort of get a pop back and forth. But we definitely have lived a different, I guess not a normal life, but I don't even know what normal is anymore. I don't know, what is that, like barbecues and ball games? I don't know, man.
You're not doing
so that. Yeah, we're bi-coastal and running around, and I think that's been really fun. A lot of people talk about the disadvantages of being a coach's kid. I think of the advantages. They're some of the best kids I've been around. They're the most adjusted. It's sort of like having a military brat a little bit, just with different things in there. So yeah, it's been wild. Obviously miss especially the little one, in some critical years, but she's great, and it's good to see him.
Yeah. So. And going into this season, they're obviously going to come to a lot of games. What are you excited about as you start to head into the fall?
Well, yeah, I'm excited for the opener. I think that'll be neat. But, the bigger thing is I'm really impressed with the development of our guys to this point, and I'm excited to watch the next 2 weeks sort of, can we keep taking those next steps in there? Because I think that'll lead to a great summer. And I know – football is a little bit different in college now, where you can do a little bit more than maybe when I was in college. So, I think we'll just keep developing. Excited to see where it takes us.
And defensively, what are some things that we can get excited about as we're watching this team? And I was able to see them, and it's aggressive defensively this year, and it's completely different. What are some things that you're excited about, and that as fans we can look towards?
Well, I think it's there's a lot of scheme in there. It's a little bit more, definitely last year was the NFL scheme. This is even more on top of that, which is really good. I think for our players, it'll help them. For those that have goals to play on, of understand sort of what that looks like. I think it gives a lot of flexibility to a lot of different players. Obviously, with the transferring and such, you get a lot of different skill sets. So trying to be able to take advantage of that, I think Coach Grantham's worked very hard of trying to get guys in the right positions and really maximize their skill sets. So I think that's maybe a little bit of the differences in there. I think also. We have a little bit of, in some ways, an older team and some of the transfers we brought in. So I think that leads to a little bit more maturity and some different things that we can do.
How long does it take for you as a coach to learn a new difference having a new DC right now?
Well, I've been blessed in that way. I've worked in a lot of different systems, so a lot of the things is the same language for me, but there still is some adjustment, no doubt. So. That I think that's sort of one of the fun things in it. I got to work for a couple different systems when I was in Oakland. Basically the same system when I was in Washington, which was nice. But every time you're going to take different pieces from where you're at in there. So that's always sort of one of the fun challenges in there. And I think just coaching is really teaching. So it's like sort of just getting maybe. You're still in the same discipline, but maybe just a different subject matter a little bit, if that makes sense.
So you compare coaching to teaching. What kind of coach/teacher would you say you are to these guys?
Well, that's what I started in. I was actually a high school teacher.
Really?
So, I started in high school. I was a high school history teacher, theology, economics, psychology, sort of those disciplines.
So you can help with homework around the facility.
I don't know about that, but my kids are probably better at that than I am. But no, I mean, I think it's a lot of the same thing. I think the difference is we teach as coaches, we teach AP football. The only difference between AP football is our kids' scores are put on the scoreboard every week, and it's much more public. And I think that's probably it's a lot of the same challenge of how much can we get in, retain, and then really sort of cut them loose and let them do their thing.
How do you know you have success as a coach? When do you start to see that success, and what do these players, what does it look like to you to have success?
I think for me, going back to why I first got into it is just that, hopefully help raise great husbands, great fathers, in there. I got 2 daughters, so I'm very touchy about the husband-father thing. I think the other thing is just watching them try to get to the goals that they want and really trying to make them a pro in whatever they end up doing. Because some will go on and play and be phenomenal, play in the NFL, or some might be in the UFL or arena, and then some might be an attorney, electrician, an entrepreneur, who knows, but that they just are a professional in what they do, and they really strive to do the best, being consistent day in, day out, and really make a difference in this world. So, and I think the biggest is just trying to help give them the tools to be successful, because they're all super gifted, super bright. I think anybody who gives this generation a tough time is crazy. I think they're phenomenal.
And if you had one mantra that you live for every single day, what is it?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm a preacher's kid, so I gotta be careful on that one. But I think it's a little bit, go ye therefore and be great. I think that really is, what you should do. Strive for it every day and sort of see how it turns out. So
awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Inferno.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Blazers. And don't go too far, because we'll be right back with our Blazers of the Week.
The if in life, it's a world of possibilities. If you go for a night out with friends, if you can keep an eye on your money along the way, if you know you have overdraft protection with no fee transfers from savings, when you get a low balance alert, it's easier to say yes to fun. If that sounds good, try Regions Life Banking.
Stay ready for the if in life. Regents Bank, embrace the if in life.
Welcome back to the Inferno podcast. I'm Madison Page, and we're back with our Blazers of the Week presented by Blazers Mobile. I'm here with Jeremiah Jordan and Joe Pierce. How are we doing, guys?
We're doing good.
Doing good. How you
Awesome. Pretty good.
That's good.
So I want to get back. We don't really know you guys too much. You just transferred in here. How did you guys even start playing football?
First off, I started playing football when I was about 5 years old.
Really?
So it's kind of been like a no-brainer for me. I always knew I was gonna be a football player since I was 5 years old.
Nice.
So.
JJ, when did you start?
I started playing football when I was 6. I got one older brother and my dad. They was kind of like basketball players, but and I, grew up playing basketball as well. But my cousin Rico, I had a cousin Rico. Him and his dad, they had a football team and just introduced me to football. I fell in love with the game of football the moment I stepped out there.
Would you ever go back to playing basketball for a little bit or no?
Nah.
Because I know you guys had a little debate saw on social media on who was the best basketball player. Who did you guys say?
I'll definitely say Nate Rogers.
Okay.
Nate Rogers.
I'll take myself.
You're going to put yourself in there. Yeah. Okay, so one-on-one, you versus Nate. Are you going? Are you winning?
Yeah, I'm winning.
Okay, perfect. So I want to talk a little bit about the transfer portal because you don't know about it unless you're in it. What was kind of the biggest shock you had when you guys entered the portal and kind of when you came out of it?
I'll definitely say it's very frustrating. I feel like you have to make your mind up before you do it.
Right.
And it's a 50-50 chance. You either get picked up or you don't. So I can definitely give people advice on that. To make sure you have somewhere to go before you get in the portal.
Yeah. JJ, what was your experience like?
My experience, I kind of entered the portal twice. So my biggest experience was, before I entered the portal, just really be productive because, like you said, there's no guarantee entering the portal. So once you enter the portal, you really want to make sure that you have a great resume before you take that step. But I feel like the biggest thing that I had to rely on was faith because it's not no guarantee. So just trusting God and trusting God to put you in the right situation.
What solidified your decision of choosing UAB as your school?
I'm from Montgomery, Alabama, so I wanted to get closer to home, be closer to fam. I love Birmingham. Birmingham is a very big city. I love big cities, so I wanted to be in something, that I enjoy. I'm a freshman, so I want to be able to enjoy college and, have a good time.
What was your experience like at Oklahoma? Or Oklahoma State, sorry.
It was pretty cool. It's kind of like a country town. 1 mile radius. 1 mile, you go 1 mile, you right out the city. So everything was kind of in the right next to each other. But it was a good experiment. I met a lot of good people. I learned a lot of good things. I even grew as me as a freshman last year. I'm a completely different person this year. I feel like it just about meeting great people, I feel like.
Yeah. JJ, would you say you changed versus where you were when being at Memphis? Would you say your mindset or you as an athlete has changed since you came to UAB?
Yes, I feel like it changed a lot. I feel like deciding on UAB, what really helped me make this decision was the staff they had and the new staff they had, just having conversation with Mort, Grantham, V's, like everybody, they really preaching, even to the screen staff, everybody really preaching being a pro. So going to my last year, that's really what I'm looking for, just seeing the success they had at a high level. V's being at the NFL, Grantham having his success at the in the SEC with the schools he played, and Mort having his time at Alabama. So really just trusting and just gaining being a pro. So I feel like my time here, I gained the most was, preparing to be a pro and really just being a student of the game, being able to work in Grantham defense, just open you up to being knowing the defense more, being a student on the field.
What's something about being a football player that people kind of take for granted that you would say being a college football player? It's a totally different ballgame being a college athlete, but I feel like the spotlight is extra on you as football players. What's something people don't really realize?
It's definitely day in and day out. You spend a lot of hours. People probably just think we do it because we love it, which we do. But it's a lot of hard days. You're away from your family, you're away from your friends, a lot of people. And I feel like once you get into football, it's just kind of like really, something you love to do. You want to go to the next level. You want to compete, and you meet great people playing this sport, like people you'll remember for the rest of your life. That's why I love doing it. It's just not about football. It's just the people you meet, because you'll remember them for the rest of your life. So I feel like that's a huge part, and people really don't see that.
Yeah. And JJ, I want to talk a little bit about your journey, because you played D2 originally, right?
Yeah.
Then went to Memphis, then went to UAB. What has that journey kind of been like, and what's the hardest part about even going from like continuing to build on yourself and one-upping yourself every time?
Like I said, the biggest thing would probably just be like taking that risk and relying on faith. But I feel like each school I feel like I can grow in different places at each one. Honestly, like my time at Hardin, it really just there being a Christian school really just built my faith. And like they really got a brotherhood, just being there, having a brotherhood. I feel like they got a successful program, successful school. I was able to win a national championship there, so I really was able to experience the winning culture, seeing what it takes to be a part of that winning culture. So they really just, they showed me that. And then just being at Memphis, having the experience to go home and not only be at home, I feel like that team was kind of a brotherhood as well, like just great moments with the team, and being able to going from D2 to Memphis, just the level of play. I feel like I enjoyed that. Just the way we played as a defense, the way we played as a team, I enjoyed that as well. And just being here at UAB, like I said, grew more as a student of the game, even more, and just, excited to get a chance to go out there and ball with my brothers.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. And you talk about that brotherhood. I saw you guys practice, and it seems like you guys are really close. You guys are playing for each other. There's constant talking on the field. What is the locker room kind of like right now with a whole bunch of new guys just learning each other?
I'll say since the day everybody stepped on this campus, we all kind of like just joined in together. It wasn't just like coaches telling us that we have to do it. It was more of us telling, like, we're here together. We got to be able to trust each other. When you meet good people, all like in a good room, you have great players, you have to have some type of, team bond. And I feel like, and it's very essential in this game. A lot of people get together and they're really just, very close to each other in the game of football. So I feel like we did pretty good. And we still got some growing to do as a unit, and we're still learning each other, stuff like that. I feel like we're doing pretty good at that.
Yeah, and we had a little moment where we picked out songs that you guys are putting on aux, like your top songs. And I have Brent, Coach Vies is going to be, grading them a little bit later. But who is having aux in the locker room? Who are you guys giving aux to, and who is absolutely not having aux in the locker room?
Definitely me. Everybody like me on aux.
Okay. Are you biased in that, or JJ, do you agree, or is
No. It'd be different people on there.
Yeah.
Different players on there each days. Like, be me sometimes be Coco. Sometimes it'll be Rod. It just goes around, whoever get on there first. So
who are you putting on aux?
Most of the time it'd be Joe, it'd be Coco. So yeah, I say that. And then I don't know. I feel like us as a team, especially defense, we spend a lot of time bumping Young Boy, and I'm a bigger fan with Young Boy. I feel like we kind of vibe to that. But then I say Coco, Joe P, JT, whoever on us.
Okay, so if you could describe this defensive team or group as a whole, what would you guys say it is?
I'll say it's like aggressive, more like we want it.
Yeah.
More physical. If you can say anything, JJ, like it's.
Like he said, I feel like it's aggressive. I feel like we got a team full of guys that's hungry. Still like playing smart though, because like you said, it's NFL defense, so you gotta be smart. And man, I feel like Grantham got a great scheme. Just seeing once you playing fast, aggressive, being able to communicate, everybody be on the same page, you see how dominant the team can be. So I feel like the biggest thing is just, man, a team that's gonna bring that fire, aggressive, play fast.
And another thing I feel like that's different with this defense is like everybody has like their different attributes. Everybody plays different, so I feel like that would set us out as different as a unit together. Everybody has their own attributes.
So like so many different pieces of a puzzle like coming in.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that something
and
different? Is that different for you guys to see?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Really?
Cause at my last school, it wasn't really like that. So I was a little surprised once I got here how much like talent we have. We have a bunch of old guys, we have a bunch of young guys, and I feel like if you just put that together, it'll be a special unit.
Yeah, and if you were to give a little bit of respect to the offense right now, what would you say the hardest part is about defending an offense that UAB has?
Definitely tackling the running backs.
Okay.
I can say that as one. We have some big backs. They fast, they physical, they explosive. I like the receivers too. They very quick in open field. I like Rodder. He's a very smart quarterback. He even make me better as I've been here. I learn a lot from him. We praise each other, we lift each other up, and yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are all like kind of just together. You guys are playing as a team, and everybody wants it. Everybody's hungry, and everybody's going towards one common goal. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about you guys outside of football. Like besides being football players, where will we find you on an off day?
Definitely on golf course. For
Okay,
sure.
you're a
Golf
golfer.
course, yeah.
Are you golfing out there with them?
Nah, I ain't golfing. I can't golf at all.
What golf course are you going to? Do you like the ones in Birmingham, or have you explored any of them yet?
Nah, I haven't played in Birmingham yet, but I play back in my hometown. It's called Wind Lakes, and I played in Santa Rosa.
Okay.
Every now and then, but I just started getting into it last year, May. But it's really just not just me playing golf. It's just kind of like a peace of mind, something that I can relate on. Just like football is a peace of mind for me. I love doing football because it reimburses my mindset, and golf is just real fun.
So would you say, what are you doing before a game that kind of resets your mind and completely like flips that switch?
It might be a little weird, but I look at quotes.
Okay.
A lot of quotes. Sometimes it just pop up on my phone, and I can just look at it and reflect back on some, how I overcame adversity and how much I overcome. But looking at quotes, I feel like it's very powerful to me.
Yeah. JJ, what's your pregame routine?
My pregame routine, I just like listen to music.
Okay.
Yeah, music.
What do you put it on?
Like I said, I gotta go YoungBoy, but I feel like I kind of like I be listening to like Push Shots. They have YTB Fat in there. Some guys from Memphis. I feel like I don't know. I feel like it just give me in that mode going into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
music.
want to talk a little bit about Memphis. Just a quick touch on it,
Okay.
because you made that quick switch.
Yeah.
Did it feel kind of like you were entering a little bit of like enemy territory when you made a switch to come to UAB from Memphis?
Yeah, it did. It did a little bit, but like I said, it was business. So
Yeah, I mean, you got to do
yeah.
everything for yourself at this
Yeah.
point. Who has the better barbecue?
Memphis. I feel like Memphis got the best food all around.
You can't say that.
I don't think
Cut that out.
he ain't got the South.
You haven't experienced true like UAB Birmingham cooking for real.
And then like barbecue is cool. Like Memphis, they known for barbecue. I feel like I spend a lot of my time eating my barbecue like with family. Like I don't really go to restaurants to get barbecue, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of a big guy on wings and stuff. And I know like even with Birmingham, they talk about the wings here. I feel like they have some good wings. I've seen people try to say they're better than Memphis. I wouldn't say that.
I don't think you haven't been here enough.
They up
You
there.
haven't been here enough. You gotta really branch out and try some good wings in Birmingham. They have good ones.
Nah, they got some good ones.
Yeah.
I won't put it over Memphis, but they got some good ones for sure.
What's your family aspect like so far? How did your family feel about you guys moving to Birmingham? I know you're coming closer and you're completely transferring. How do your families feel?
They're very excited. At first I was 14, I was away from home, so I couldn't really come back home as much. And I didn't play freshman year, so my parents didn't come. And me being in Birmingham is kind of like excellent.
Yeah.
All my family members can come and watch me play. Not just family members, coaches, friends, etc. I feel like that's really great, be able to showcase my skills to my family. And it's been a long time since I've been playing.
Yeah,
so.
and having all those people that pushed you to this moment,
Oh, yeah.
finally being able to see you on that stage, I think is super huge.
Yes, ma'am.
What about you, JJ?
With me, I say like I'm kind of blessed with it. Like I say, I got an amazing support system as far as family. My parents, they always been there for me, no matter my time at Harlem. My parents never missed a game, so no matter how far it was, they was always there. So being at Birmingham, going to the portal, I didn't know how far I was gonna have to go, but I really wasn't too worried about it. Of course, like, the distance, that play a part, not being able to see them as much, but being home, I could travel, whenever we had the time. But as far as the football games, I don't never really have to doubt if they're gonna be there, because I know they're gonna try their best to make it every time.
Yeah, and that's definitely a blessing to have. It's something that a lot of people can't really say. So I
Yeah.
think that's super huge that you have that support system, and even you, Joe, like having those families to be able to come and see you. What's something that you take with your family every single time before you go into a game? Like a quote that you put in your head or a saying that they say to you?
It's probably everybody's quote, but give it y'all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to, do something bad in front of my parents or make a bad play because I feel disappointed. So I want to, do the best that I can, play the hard as I can, just really, make my family proud, because at the end of the day, they came to watch me. So just really, putting a smile on their face, I feel like that's a big part of uplifting them.
Yeah. JJ, so we have Give It Your All with Joe. What are you saying?
I feel like it's so many that they done told me that I taken to the game. For sure, just remain humble through it all. But I feel like when it comes to the game, it's like I'm in a whole different mode. So really just going out there and show them for real. I kind of got an underdog mindset, so just go out there and prove it, show everybody exactly who I am. So that's kind of what I do. And at this point, like where I'm at, just everything we really do is a representation of our family. Like you said, we out there with our last name on our back. So that's what I kind of represent every time I go out.
Yeah, I love that. And one last question. What does success look like for you guys this season?
Success. You can start off, JJ.
Success. Success. I feel like we want to go in and win it all for sure. Like that's what we want to do. We want to win conference. We want to. Man, I feel like a lot of people. I feel like we got a team that's gonna shock the world, shock the conference. Like, I'm very excited for what this team got. I feel like we got a team full of hunger guys. Just being in this position, like when a lot of the world probably don't expect much, I feel like I love to be on that side of the story. Just being able to just prove to everybody. So, I'm excited to go out there, compete with my dogs right now into the first game. Just really just put on for the state of Alabama and do it for the fans.
Yeah. What about you, Joe?
Success for us this year, I feel like when nobody's looking, I feel like that's the success that we're going to have. Putting in the work behind, staying late to film means just being around each other, and that's what's going to bring success into, this game. Just work all season. Continue to get to know each other, continue to do things right, and continue to, put on for UAB, and let's go win.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are on the right path right now based
Yeah.
on how talking to you guys, talking to your teammates before when we had on the Inferno podcast.
Yeah.
You guys are on the right track, and Birmingham is super excited to watch what you guys have in store. Thank you guys for joining me on the Inferno podcast today.
No problem. Thank you.
Of course. And thank you so much, Blazers. Don't go too far because we'll be right back with This Week in Blazer Nation.
Oh yeah, oh no. Oh yeah, let's roll.
Welcome back to This Week in Blazer Nation, sponsored by Children's of Alabama. We're coming up strong with baseball after sweeping FAU. They are now first in conference and on a 9-game winning streak. Softball's not far behind them because they just defeated Memphis. After winning 6 of their last 7 games, they'll head to Tulsa this weekend. Beach volleyball has 10 straight victories. They're going to be hosting the Blazer Beach Bash this weekend before they head for Conference USA to start their tournament later on in April. Starting us off strong today, Thursday, UAB men's tennis takes on Tulane at the Hoover Met. Tomorrow on the 10th, women's track starts the Alabama Crimson Invite at Alabama. Beach volleyball begins the Blazer Beach Bash with women's tennis playing Southern Miss at the Hoover Met. The 10th through the 12th, baseball is going to be taking on Wichita State with softball at Tulsa. April 11th on Saturday, men's tennis takes on UTSA with the doubleheader for women's soccer taking on Ole Miss and then following behind with Jacksonville State. Closing us out on the 11th, men's soccer is going to be playing Lipscomb. That's all I have for you this week in This Week in Blazer Nation. I'm Madison Page, and thank you so much for watching the Inferno podcast.